I have to go right now. I'm getting calls. I have to catch a flight. I'm on a tour.
Hurry Up Tomorrow. Now, I find this to be a really interesting film. I mean, it's not often you get arguably the biggest music artist on the planet creating not a concert film, not a fancy music video, but a feature-length psychological thriller about himself. Now, The Weeknd hasn't had the most notable career in the acting space, with most people, including me, having only really seen him in Uncut Gems.
No, I asked for black light. I'm not performing until there's fucking black light on this fucking stage.
He also had his HBO show, The Idol, which went down like a lead balloon. And after that, many thought he would throw in the towel and stick to what he was good at. Now, Hurry Up Tomorrow tells the story of a fictionalized version of The Weeknd as he battles loss and the pressures of finding himself. And for a film centering around a massive pop star, it's surprisingly enclosed, surprisingly personal. With a relatively low 15 million something budget and a small cast, it's unlike something I'd expect from a man of this sort of level of fame and fortune. It's essentially a team of three, with the only other characters in play being his manager, played by Barry Keoghan, and this mysterious girl, played by Jenna Ortega. Now, I mentioned the personal factor of this, and I'd say it's one of its standout qualities, although it does bring a certain level of vanity to the table that wouldn't necessarily have been present before. For those of you who don't know, The Weeknd was really involved in sort of the writing of this story. And the problem with writing a deeply personal story about yourself is that it can very easily stray to a place of ego. Some dialogue in this you just hear and you think, now how highly does he actually think of himself? How does he think others actually perceive him and his music?
Alright, I'm gonna go through some tracks. Let's go with Blinding Lights. It's an undeniable hit. It's very emotional though if you listen.
I mean, even if The Weeknd wasn't a writer on this, it would still sound shameless, but with his involvement, it's just laughable. He's essentially turning to the audience and saying, you know what, my song is a generational hit. Okay, you're missing the layers of emotional subtext that I baked in. So I'm going to tell you now that this song is deeper than you think. She also talks about his song Gasoline, saying,
Gasoline, a synth pop new wave track that you can't help but move to. And did anyone even watch the music video?
Another shameless plug. I hadn't seen the video, so I watched it, and yes, it was a very good music video, but did we need a scene in your supposedly serious film to promote it? It seriously jarred me, because outside of this, I honestly didn't hate this film. Many an online critic has panned The Weeknd's performance in this, but am I deluded to say that I didn't hate him? I mean, when he's trying to be overly emotional or putting on this sort of like tortured poet persona, it does come off a little crap, but when he's being the more snarky, condescending, and frankly real version of his character, I like him a lot more. Not to say that he's an asshole in real life, but he's damn natural at portraying one.
I hope you able,
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut up! What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
There's a shot in this as we circle him pre-performance as he's having a seeming mental breakdown on the phone, and I caught myself thinking, you know what, he's actually kind of good at this. Maybe it's down to the fact he can stem off real events and real emotions here better than he can for the more overly dramatic beats of the story. I mean, I'm much more inclined to believe he's experienced something like this, and not something like this. On the whole, I'd really disagree with the idea that The Weeknd's performance is the be-all and end-all of this film. And as I said, I think a lot more of this film's issues lie within the framing of the story and the way it moves, especially towards the climax. Aside from the fact it's extremely egotistical and really rather quite vain, it just doesn't go anywhere. I mean, the tagline is reality lies deeper than you think, but he doesn't really find reality. And a story of self-discovery where you don't really discover yourself is a very difficult thing to pull off. It's all a bit ambiguous, and it's clear that they're trying to open up the floor for interpretation and discussion, but there's not really a great deal of substance to discuss. If you don't want any spoilers for the very end, then skip to the time on the screen now, although I'm really not going to be spoiling that much. But the big third act builds towards The Weeknd having to dig deep and sort of explore the true reasons why he is the way he is, or else Ortega's character will kill him. It's honestly a bit random, but just as she's about to set him on fire for not opening up, he breaks into song, and he sings the bloody title track on his album. And remember, he's written this himself into the script. He's essentially trying to desperately push the narrative again, that his music is just so layered, and he's doing all this deep stuff that we're missing. I'm not at all here to debate the quality of The Weeknd's music. I don't see myself as educated enough in that aspect to make a judgment. But on the level of the film, it really does just cheapen it. When I heard that this film would be a companion to the album, I don't think I realised how serious they would be taking the word companion. Anyway though, back to it. While I've exposed some rather glaring issues here, the fact remains I still do have a soft spot for this film. In my mind, it exists really nicely just how it is. A little misguided plot-wise, a little artsy, but at the end of the day, it's just a great thing to look at and a great thing to listen to. Unless you're one of the few people out there who just hates The Weeknd's music, then I have no doubt you will at least appreciate your time with this. We hear a few of his bigger songs, there are 2 performance scenes which, while they aren't real, I don't think, they capture the atmosphere really well. We've got some seriously ethereal backing sounds here, a lot of synths and risers and such, and it's just a great vibe. While I do quite like Barry Keoghan's character, Ortega's on the other hand is just... She's just in and out. Not a clue what she's trying to do, not a clue what she represents, to be honest. She's just trying to save him, but there's not really much motivation behind it. But on the level of vibes, it's definitely there. As I said, if you want something that's great to look at and great to listen to, then you really can't go wrong with this. But going back to the claims that this is in the running for being the worst of 2025, I think it's a case where people just love to hate. And I think this is more disappointing from the scope that it's a Weeknd film as opposed to the scope that it's just a bad film. If you think of the resources they had and the talent at their disposal, it is a bit disappointing. But by no means the worst thing of the year. Not even close. Like, did anybody actually watch War of the Worlds? Okay, I made a video on that. If you haven't seen it, go check it out after this one. War of the Worlds was tragically bad. I haven't seen Eden. I might honestly watch it just for goose and gigs, but it's kind of peeved me off that people have sort of dogged on this to the extent that they have. That's all I've really got to say. I reckon in a few years' time, this will be like a cult classic. I already think it's an underrated gem. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.